Welcome to Friday night's video in our Master Series. This is the 65th video in our Master Series, the 35th video in our first phase processing, and we're getting ready to maximize our tracks. First of all, I'll tell you when I use a maximizer, I'm trying to normalize the track, reduce the dynamic range as much as I want to on the track, and basically maximize the impact of the track. Now, this can also be done when we get done with our mixing and our final processing, but I do this to all my tracks. That way, the only fussing I have to do is with my fader when I start messing with it, and sometimes I have to go back and do some automation work with volume levels. But most of the time, I don't have to by now. So, first of all, I really do suggest you go look at Multiband Dynamics. Sometimes it can be real helpful to address just frequencies and frequency ranges, so take a look at them. Now basically what's happening with a maximizer is it's compressing with some type of a ratio that's increasing and dropping the threshold as it goes along. This can be very debatable, but basically what's happening, it's soft compressing a little more, soft compressing more with multiple compressors, trying to do it gradually to try to get as much compression and maximization of the sound and the track without causing saturation and distortion. So basically you have a series happening and then a limiter at the end, making sure that nothing clips at the end of it. And it's a pretty simple concept. It's a great tool because sometimes I've got my maximizer here set, and just the basic tools of maximizing, I've dropped my ceiling down to 0.3, and I've got a minus 2 dB threshold. And all I want to do is basically tame this upper end stuff. That there's not, I don't want a whole lot of this going on, but I don't want to really mess with the dynamics. I want the sound maximized as loud a dB as possible, and retain the dynamics and normalize the track. So basically, with a setting really simple like that, is when this goes through and runs its algorithm on this track, what's going to happen is that most you're going to see maybe a little bit of squishing happen in the very loudest dB areas of the track, like you see in here and here, but no saturation and distortion, and I really have not fussed with the dynamics too much. And you can do this in various degrees. You might want hardly none of this dynamics happening that you see going on here because of the type of the production it is. That it's not needed, and it's actually detrimental to what you're trying to do because you want a lot of impact happening there, but you want to retain maybe some of these types of dynamics here or something like that. But the rest of it you're not really too worried about, and it's not really something you want to that's going to be detrimental to the sound of the track. So you get a lot more squishing going on, and it's starting to get close to fussing with these dynamics going on here. And you can increase that even more to the point to where you really want to maximize this track as much as you can, and it might reduce a little bit of the dynamic range, but you really want very little dynamics happening on this track and this production for whatever you're trying to do. And you can see that you see the dynamics happening here, but not a lot down here, and it's really starting to squish this track, which is going to be great for whatever production you might be doing. And you might go to even more to where it looks like it's a black line all the way across there, doing it little by little, or putting maximizers in series. They'll do it gradually so you don't get saturation and distortion to where you just want to really completely maximize that track. And it's like, dude, you compress that thing completely. I mean, it's like a black mark all the way across the screen, which can be valid in some situations. There's been productions I've done with something going on, and it looked like that, and that's perfect for that production. Whereas with this production here, if I'd have done that with this first one we did, that it would have sounded bad, and it would have screwed up all the dynamics that were really a part of the production and very much integral in the way the whole production was going to sound. So basically, that's what I do next. It's a very simple process. It's a very simple concept, and you're getting compression done. You're preserving the dynamics that you want to be able to preserve with this processing. You're maximizing the volume of the overall track, and you're normalizing the track all at the same time. And then we can go into the next phase in our first phase processing, which is basically going to be something that might be looked at as part of mixing, but I do it here because of what's involved with delays and things like that, that it's kind of a processing kind of deal. So take a look at maximizers, take a look at what you can do with them. As you get better with your productions and understanding what a production needs, that a maximizer will become very much more apparent to you in the value that it has, because it's a great tool, and as they improve on the algorithms, that it's a phenomenal tool to implement on your tracks when you get done with your processing, or at the tail end of your processing like we're doing here, so that you can get that track maximized for impact and preserving the dynamics you want on that track for when you start mixing. So peace out, love. I hope you enjoyed this video on maximizing your tracks, and I'll see you in the next video.